Yes.
Well, the only group that didn't vote for him that didn't like vote for him in droves were the boomers. So the people who are still watching Fox News and CNN. I think the statistics of the demographics were like Gen Z, millennials, and Gen Xers pretty much voted fully in favor of Thomas Massie. I don't even know who he was running against, Ed something. That guy got all the boomer votes, and I think that those people are generally probably the ones who are still watching Fox News. I don't know.
In all these years of being in the, as I said, 35 years next month, and I've been with my wife the whole time. She's never one time said to me, you're being a little bigoted or going too hard on this or that group. People call me a racist. Obviously, I'm not a racist. Anti-Semite. Obviously, I'm an anti-Semite. She never said a word about any of that. The only time she ever said anything to me was, she goes, I think you're being pretty cruel to the boomers. And I was like, can you be too cruel to the boomers?
No.
There's some nice people born between 1946 and 1964. And I said, of course, you're absolutely right. She goes, don't generalize too much. I don't think God wants you to do that. And I think that was good advice. But my temptation is, I think just it's provably true. There's never been a more selfish generation.
Yeah.
I think there are reasons for that. Obviously, their parents survived the Depression and the war, and they just like indulged their kids to the point where they really believed they were the sun around which the universe was rotating, and it shows in their behavior, and certainly in the way they spend their money. Mm-hmm. It's so offensive to me that I can barely stand it. So I'm sorry to add to the anti-boomer hate, but I just, with some exceptions, of course, but I really feel it. And the fact we have a boomer president, this is our last boomer president.
We'll see. It feels, I thought we were going to I didn't think we were going to have any more boomer presidents like 10 years ago, but it just keeps happening and happening. So, and maybe the boomer hate is too much, but I went back and re-listened to your interview with Charlie Kirk, like from a year ago, I think. And you went on like a huge rant about the boomers there. And I felt like everything you said was pretty accurate. It didn't even seem like it was blown out of proportion.
Well, the neglect of their own children is what gets me, because I'm a father. I can kind of relate to that. I've got a bunch of kids. And, if your kids are, in their 20s or 30s and can't afford a house, and you have a second house and you don't sell that house and help your kids buy houses, what's wrong with you? Like, well, actually, the number of people I have met in my life whose boomer parents encourage them to have abortions when they get pregnant out of wedlock. I'm serious. Yeah, I know a lot of people like that. I've met many people who told that story. It's like, those are your grandchildren. You're encouraging your child to kill your grandchildren?
Yeah.
That's this. I can't even get my head. That's the sickest thing I can imagine. I actually can't imagine anything sicker than that. There's no sex crime that's sick,
Right. Seriously. Right. Well, I remember sitting at a Chick-fil-A at like 19, talking with a friend, and we were talking about like, I don't know, the quality of the women that we were around and that we wanted to get married at some point. And some boomer lady, like in the table next to us, sitting by herself, looked over at us and started like scolding us, being like, well, you shouldn't be talking about marriage at your age. Go have fun. Don't get married till you're older. And I don't know what I said to her, but I think I said something probably really rude and not okay to say to somebody who's your elder, but she didn't talk to us after that. But that was sort of in a situation where I was like, what in the world is going on? I was like 19 or something. And like, people are telling my parents always said, go get married, have kids at a young age, you're not going to be able to afford it, but you'll figure it out. And that's been the case. I'm married. I'm 26. I'm married. We have 3 kids, 3 and under. Oh. Yeah, we're doing fine. It's fun and I love having kids, but it's exhausting and crazy too. All that is to say, like, that lady felt like so passionate about her evangelism that she had to come over and like tell us to shut up. It's just crazy. I don't know. It just drives me nuts.
So if your animating issue is against children, whether it's abortion or birth control or people not getting married, if like you wake up and you're like, how can I prevent more children from being born? Mm-hmm. I mean, why would I listen to anything you say? Like, that's the darkest thing I can possibly imagine. Mm-hmm. And what's so weird is, and I love dogs, I mean, almost more than anything. However, if you were on like an anti-puppy jag, if you were like famous for being against puppies, most people would say you're really a sick person. Okay.
Yeah.
Americans would recognize that as like grotesque.
Yeah.
But being against babies is considered totally, I mean, we literally have entire political, whether it's Emily's List or NARAL or Planned Parenthood, like there are massive lobbies that control half the Congress whose whole point is to prevent children from being born. And it's like, okay, so yes.
Do you think that that's just like a satanic inversion of
obvious?
Well, yeah, but that's the point of it. They don't see that you can't have a country to have power over if you don't have children. Like, I don't understand what their goal is with that.
Well, it's pre-rational. It's not, there is no goal. Sure. What they're doing is the goal. So for years, I'm not super bright. So I bought everything people said at like a literal level. And I thought that they really believed that like we needed more abortions so that 14-year-old, farm worker girls could like go to Princeton. And so I would say, yeah, I want the 14-year-old farm worker girl to go to Princeton, I guess, but that's great. But you shouldn't kill a baby in order to do that. I realized only in later life, like in the past 5 or 6 years, that the abortion was the point. They made no effort to help the farm worker girl go to Princeton at all. In the last, in 2020, the Democratic Party was it 2024, rolled an abortion van up to its own convention just so people could like have abortions because abortion, the act of killing, was the point. And that's true in the war in Ukraine. It's why they all support what's happening in Gaza. It's like killing makes people feel powerful. That is the closest to God you're ever going to be when you're extinguishing human life in terms of power. Like that's what gets them high, is the idea that I decide when someone's life ends, or my own even. That's why they love suicide and euthanasia. Right. But that gives me godlike powers. And of course, that's the deal that the New Testament describes Jesus received during his temptation. Where Satan says, just bow down before me and I give you all of this. That's exactly the deal. And by the way, all of us face that temptation throughout our, just do this one thing and you can get that in exchange for it. It's the same temptation Jesus faced. You don't have to believe in God to know that, by the way. Right. It's just so clear. Watching, if you've ever been around the people in charge, the most successful people in this or any other country, it's very obvious that it wasn't worth it, that they lost something in exchange for what they got and that you would not want to be them.